Back in the booth with the tragedy end. Switch up the team, let the magic begin. Told all you haters I'm in it to win it. Way back when them losers weren't letting me in.
What's up, Native Nation? I'm Alfred Armstrong. This is where I talk about Native news and stuff that matters to me and hopefully you. I started this show to help spread awareness of our Native culture to Natives and non-Native people. Hopefully we can go ahead and shatter some of the stereotypical views that mainstream media and America itself has about our Native culture. First off, I'd like to start off with going ahead and dedicating this show to my one inspiration. Actually a few inspirations, but my number one inspiration is my father. My father's name was Donaldson Armstrong, and it'd be fitting since yesterday was Veterans Day, and he himself was a vet himself, a veteran of the military. I believe he served a couple years underneath the Army and made a career of it, and I always remember him in one of the pictures that I actually have here below of him at his desk, and he was one of my main people that I look up to in Native culture because he surrounded me with a whole lot of my culture and wanted to show that it was something to be proud of, and it's something to be proud of, and it's something that we forget, especially like natives myself that are brought up in the urban communities, and we don't get to see a lot of that, but nevertheless we're around it through our families, and it's something that we need to keep strong within our community. And I definitely want to dedicate this to him and his legacy, along with my kids, my two kids, my son Aiden and my daughter Samantha, and I want to make sure that I continue this tradition, and you yourself can continue this tradition with your cultures, especially within the nations. And wanted to do that before we get started here because we got a lot to cover on our topics for today. Want to go ahead and educate you on a lot of the Native cultures and the nations within the nation, and I'll get a little bit into that. Here are some Native facts for the day. Did you know that it was National Native American Heritage Month this month? Probably didn't, like everybody else, but that's all right because there's a lot of sites that are dedicated to that for this month. A lot of events are going out throughout the United States within the nations that are actually celebrating in National Native American Heritage Month. Okay, so I implore you guys to go out there and find those events and get immersed into our culture and celebrate it with us, because a lot of you didn't know that it was actually our Heritage Month this month. Another Native fact for you is that, do you realize that the Native population consists of about 3% of the United States population? Yes, 3% of the United States population is Native American. Can't believe it. It's kind of 3%. Wow. Makes you kind of wonder. With that fact, just think about it. This land used to be covered in all Native Americans, millions of people, and yet we're the 3% of the population now. Also, did you know that the United States has approximately 2.3 billion acres of land? That's 2.3 billion acres of land. And did you know that it's all native land? Just kidding. But it was at one point all native land. And right now, do you know how many natives actually do own land, or reservations that do own land? There are approximately 55.7 million acres totaling that native nations that actually own those land. You know what that represents in a percentage? That is actually only 2% of the U.S. land that we own. And here we're from this land. And it kind of makes you wonder, wow. And you guys want to talk about that we get everything for free and that we own everything, and it's not always the case here. If you could just look at the statistics and you look at the percentages and you see that 2% of 2.3 billion, it's not a whole lot of land out there, but what land we do have, we hold it sacred to us. Another native fact. To continue with National Native Heritage Month, I don't know if any of you are familiar with Rock Your Mocks. If so, then you must be native, because it's actually a native event that's held in the United States nationwide. And what it is that we actually wear our moccasins, which hence says Rock Your Mocks. I got my mocks here that I plan on wearing. You can basically wear your mocks wherever you want to wear your mocks. So it's to spread Native culture and to spread awareness of Native Americans out there in the United States. You know, we got to represent our 3%, right? So it's something that's really cool. You can do it at work. You can do it when you're jogging, you know, jogging some mocks. You know, you can do it whatever you want to do it. I see some pretty cool moccasins out there. If, you know, somebody comes up, then go ahead and tell them about your culture. You know, let them know about your culture. Let them know about, you know, the story of the moccasins if you want. You know, if you want to go ahead and tell them what nation you're from, then go ahead and share that. But it's just spreading the awareness that we are still here. Because sadly, there's some places where they actually think that there's no natives in the United States, or they haven't seen a native. And we got to start, you know, and spread that awareness to them and let them know that we're here, right? And that we're representing. Another thing that is with Rock Your Mocks is that we're actually holding events within Phoenix today. I believe they're holding an event today, I believe at 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. in the Grand Canyon Room, Mesa Public Schools. It's in the Student Service Centers, and this is actually brought to you by the Urban Indian Coalition of Arizona. Once again, that's the Urban Indian Coalition of Arizona. I have a telephone number for you. It's actually 602-264-6768. And you can go ahead, and I believe they're going to be doing demonstrations and doing the story behind the moccasin as well. I'm pretty sure there's something happening within your state, within your nation. And if you're interested, maybe you can take a look at that. You know, look up on the website Rock Your Mocks, and then you could probably find some more links onto there. And I'll actually provide some links to some of these events too that are happening here within the state. Don't forget, Rock Your Mocks, represent. Native entertainment. I know you're familiar with the Country Music Awards that just happened, right? And I know you're familiar with the regular Grammys, right? But did you know that there was actually a Native American Music Awards? Well, yes, there is. It's actually called the NAMMYs. And if you're not familiar with it, it actually started about 15 years ago, back in 1998. It's a non-profit organization that actually finds these native artists, and we actually have awards for them. And there's a bunch of genres of music that we actually that they're actually awarded. Some of the genres of music consist of hip hop. You have country, you have soul, you have traditional music, you have Native American church music. I mean, it's just so many of these categories, and the categories are actually growing with the new artists that are coming out these days. You can actually go to the NAMMY website, and I'll actually provide the link down below. But when you go there, what I like to do personally is I like to take a look at what artists are actually being nominated, and actually take a look and seeing what their music is, and it actually gives you a preview of some of their music, so that way it kind of helps you in that voting. And then also you get to find new artists out there that are actually Native American that you didn't even know about. Just like this show right now, we're teaching you, we're immersing you in our culture. So that's one of the great things that I find about the NAMMYs. A lot of good artists out there, and I'll be sharing what artists are coming out, as well as the new upcomers, and then I'll be sharing the information once the NAMMY shows. I believe the NAMMY shows on November 29th on the FNX, I believe. And if you're not familiar with FNX, I'll go ahead and I'll let you know what that's about as well. the NAMMYs. The prediction for me, and if you all want to hear it, my prediction this year, this group has been recognized in a lot of categories, and I believe they're the ones that are going to take the show. You probably already know it if you're native, and you're probably going to vote for them just like myself. And you want to hear it? Well, it is A Tribe Called Red. Yes, I believe that they're going to take a lot of the categories. If you don't know about A Tribe Called Red, they actually started in 2007. They're out of Ontario, Canada. What they do is they basically take traditional music and they combined it with regular dance music, hip hop, reggae, and just the way the combination of the music is. I mean, I've never heard it before. They're crossing boundaries of old time music with newer music, and it's giving the native culture a sense of pride again with the way the music is. And don't get me wrong, I mean, there's always pride within our traditional music, but to be able to see that right now in the limelight, I mean, it's awesome. And I really wish that these guys would tour the United States more often. I mean, they're hitting Canada all over the place right now, hitting tours, seeing they're going into the United Kingdom and whatnot. But man, these guys are big. I mean, I really predict that these guys are going to be walking away with a lot of awards out of the NAMMYs. And you still have time, because the NAMMYs airs November 14th, and you're still able to go ahead and put your vote in. So go ahead and put your vote in. And like I said, my vote's going to be for A Tribe Called Red. All right, because these guys are awesome. If you haven't heard them, I highly suggest that you do, because the music is great, and I'm looking forward to the next album that comes out from these guys, because they are really awesome. Well, I appreciate your time. I hope you liked and enjoyed the show. I hope I educated some of you people out there as far as the native culture. If you do like the show, go ahead and share it. Share it with one of your friends. I'm okay with that. You can also find me on Twitter in Alfred Armstrong. You can go ahead and check me out on there. Also, if you want to, go ahead and subscribe on YouTube, subscribe to my page. I'm going to continue to go ahead and make more of these videos and bring more topics. And if you have any topics, go ahead and comment down below. Really looking forward to seeing you. I love my native nations, and I'll see you next week.